Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Please comment, like, and subscribe. So, guys, I have been going down a rabbit hole, and it is mostly about David Blanchard. Now, guys, I'm going to share my screen because we're actually going to go to a website called Gypsy Rose Lied About It All.com. And I'll have that in the description below. But I found some really interesting things, and we're going to go through it today because from after reading this and reading some of David Blanchard's history, in my opinion, he looks a little suspicious. So let me go ahead and share this here. Share screen. So here, this is the website. Gypsy Rose lied all about it. Guys, go to this website. It is awesome. It gives so much information. Now, we're going to read about David Blanchard. Now, according to VisionCon's now deleted website, VisionCon started out as a game day held in 1989, gradually developing into a weekend-long event. A transition VisionCon described as adding spice to the pie. By 2002, the event was promoted as still a gaming convention, but with a twist. From what we have seen looking through, and this is not me, this is the people who did the website, VisionCon's website from 1999 to 2002, this shift or twist, the spice, had less to do with gaming and more to do with adult related themes, and should have brought into question VisionCon's status as a child friendly event. It stated on VisionCon's website that David Blanchard started working for the organization in 1996. In 2002, 29-year-old, twice divorced, father of one, David also called himself Duncan. Because, guys, we know that he has given himself a bunch of different names. He was employed as an assistant floor coordinator at VisionCon. Now, it says that David's previous roles at VisionCon included gopher, working security at the event. David's hobbies during this time at VisionCon appeared to have included RPG, which is role-playing games, and LARP. LARP is live action role-playing. So what that means is when somebody is role playing, it's called LARPing. Now, these interests were also shared by Dan Glidewell, which we already know that Dan Glidewell was one of his friends. Now, it says here, we know that Dan Gladwell attended VisionCon in 2001 and then relatively small event because it says here that they found evidence of what was once a visible image of Dan on VisionCon's 2001 website, an image which was possibly erased from the website before the actual website itself was deleted. Now, the people that made this website also said that they found many images of VisionCon 2001 that weren't erased, and it's showing here on this other side. Now, according to David's social media, David also appears to have enjoyed, in his words, making stuff. Yay. Making stuff, which included metallic looking skimpy bras and women's belly dancing attire. David would remain working at VisionCon until 2015, but would be allowed to keep his finger in the pie until VisionCon ceased trading in 2023. Isn't that something? Isn't that something? Now, I'm going to have to take this down because it is go to their website. And the reason why I can't share what's coming up next is because it's got some racy stuff on there. And I'm not sure if I'm able to show that on YouTube. So I'm going to take it down just so I won't get any trouble with YouTube. Now it says here, according to David's social media, David also appears to have enjoyed, in his words, making stuff which included metallic looking skimpy bras and women's belly dancing attire. Now, isn't that funny? Do you remember Gypsy saying that she wanted to learn how to belly dance? Isn't that weird? David would remain. Okay, I've already read that. Now, in 2007, David Blanchard took on a second role, assisting in the running of Ground Zero, a Springfield goth nightclub, which opened its doors on August the 26th of 2007. Also working at the venue were two of David's VisionCon buddies and colleagues, including one who sat on VisionCon's board of directors. A friend of David Blanchard's has said they helped run the club with David, which suggests David Blanchard was doing more than just helping out. What a busy, then it says here, what a busy little bee David was. Isn't this funny what they're saying about David and how much stuff he was into and all of this stuff that was into the BDSM? Now, it says here, in October 2007, the venue began hosting an 18 plus Gamer Sunday event, which geared towards people who enjoy, remember that RPG role playing activities and and LARPing. Remember that LARPing, live action role playing. And it's fair to suggest, having looked at other people working at the club and what they brought to the table, that David and his two VisionCon colleagues were instrumental in introducing the gaming element to the venue. Like VisionCon, Ground Zero's Gamer Sunday also slid from a day event to a weekend event. And in February of 2008, the venue introduced NotCon, a weekend-long event, an obvious pun on VisionCon, which was canceled that year. Now, NotCon also incorporated some of the adult-related themes associated with VisionCon into its event, themes that were missing from Gamer Sunday. For example, a costume party and a slave auction. And again, they see a shift from pure gaming to more adult related themes. Now, it says here, it's worth noting that Dan Gladwell was also interested in a LARP performance. Now, the people that made this website also said that they were told that the LARPing community in Springfield at that time was small and tight knit. So it's fair to suggest Dan may well have attended some of the gaming events at Ground Zero, but the people of this website wasn't able to show anything. They couldn't find any pictures or anything like that. Now, it also says that Ground Zero was also booked to host the 2008 Mask and Veil Festival, and David Blanchard is shown on the staff section of the festival website as David Duncan Blanchard. What was his role? Festival security personnel. Now, guys, also, along with that, a bondage stage demo was also scheduled to showcase during the Biohazard Ball, featuring Miss Kaylee's troupe of performers. Now, isn't all of this kind of strange? From reading all of this on their website, David was very into BDSM. And a lot of this Visicon had to do with the BDSM. And not only that, they also had links to Fetish Factory and things like this. Now, isn't that strange? Isn't that really strange? Now, guys, by 2010, David Blanchard was fully immersed in the Visicon world and was also and was his wife was as well, Kimberly French. That's kind of when he met her. And Kimberly French was wife number 3. Now, David was also a member of hold on, of the 500 501 501st Legion, a Wars Imperial costuming group who stayed on their website while the 501st was initially founded to unite customers with penchant for Star Wars villainy. One of our real world missions is to bring good to our community through volunteer charity work. The 501st is always looking for opportunities to brighten the lives of the less fortunate and to bring awareness to positive causes on both local and global scale. Now, isn't it funny that David Blanchard is involved with this? Now, this 501st, this was the group who awarded Gypsy Rose Blanchard an honorary membership in 2010. Squad 66 gained its first honorary squad member, Gypsy Rose Blanchard. There was not a dry eye in the crowd as the closing ceremonies, as the little girl with such a big heart gave her memonious acceptance speech. Now, isn't it funny that this group and that one of the heads of the group is David Blanchard, and he's got all of this history with BDSM, LARPing, and so does Dan Gladwell. Isn't that strange? Now, David Blanchard was also a member of the 70th Garrison, a local chapter of the 501st Legion. Both of these groups carry out fantastic work that shouldn't be overshadowed by this research. However, we can't help but believe that at least some members of these groups, which included close friends of David's, as well as people who worked at Visicon, must have been aware of David's involvement with all of this BDSM groups. Isn't that strange? Isn't that strange? Now, isn't it funny how David Blanchard, remember whenever he was interviewed by the police? Remember, David Blanchard claimed he didn't know Gypsy could walk, but evidence suggests otherwise. For example, David Blanchard attended a small group's gathering just over a month after Gypsy ran away from home in 2011, where the person who claims to have contacted Dee Dee to come and get Gypsy from Dan's house was present with her husband, both of whom worked with David Blanchard at 2 different venues, including Visicon. They were work colleagues. They were buddies outside of work. So are you saying that they saw Gypsy come in with Dan. They called Gypsy. They caught her. She was walking in there with Dan. So these people called Dee Dee and say, "Hey, come and get your kid. Your kid's over here." And these people worked with worked with David Blanchard, was friends with David Blanchard, but never told David Blanchard that she could walk. I don't believe that. What else is David? What else is he hiding? What else is he hiding? And this is what y'all go over to this website. There's so much more than what I could actually put in this video. There's so much more. And David just looks so suspicious. What else does he know? He was a part of all this BDSM even before Gypsy met Nick. So, did David and Dan teach this BDSM stuff to Gypsy? Is that what happened? Guys, it's kind of strange. You guys, tell me what you think in the comments. I love you guys, and I will see you in the next video.